Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last stream before Easter, for I have to drive home and have to help my parents renovate, which sadly will take me out for a whole week out of streaming, and with another lovely game of WARNO, where we have on the left side Sotek, and on the right side DarkNeutron, and this is a pretty important match, because the winner of this will play for the title of the WARNO Monthly champion for the March monthly, with Sotek and DarkNeutron still being pretty high up there, and Hippie will be their opponent. So whoever wins here, really high chances. And guys, if you want to join the next monthly, sign up still open. It will start next Monday, so check out the link in the chat and in the description below. Let's freaking go. As we have DarkNeutron on the right side playing 79th Guards Tank Corps. So the big boy Soviets here coming in for our player from down under. But Sotek on the left side brings around the 8th Infantry. And that is a pretty potent division as well. Quite surprised to see both of these divisions surviving banning on this map, as those are two pretty big powerhouses. 79th obviously has a bit better late game. 8th Panzer all about the cost efficiency here. Brings around M1A1s, brings around Chaprals, brings around TOW2 missiles. Meanwhile, in the front line, LRSs with a good amount of firepower as well, and ground surveillance radar. On the other side, obviously the Soviet equivalent with some Spetsnaz GRU, but surprisingly many Motor Razvedka and Razvedka Saperi as well. So 3 different kinds of recon infantry here, actually, in the 79th deck of DarkNeutron. And that is quite a lot of recon infantry. Meanwhile, we see heavy MGs up here on top in MR13s. We see, obviously, the classic ACAVs here. Still pretty strong. Obviously, yeah, slight nerfs with the recoil rifle nerfs and so on. So it's not as insane as it once was. But 17 damage here on 1400 meter range is still pretty good. And the 2 frontal armor also gives it a decent amount of survivability and safeness from small caliber. But 8 will have to be a bit faster here, as TADUs will eventually outclass the M1A1s. The TADBVs, a TADBV versus M1A1 fight is an interesting one. And actually, even the cheaper tank department, the T62 is not doing too badly against the M60s. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, you have nice cheaper helicopters, you have A-10s and so on, you have decent artillery. All of this coming around. By the way, this patch was played before the latest hotfix that came out today. So I'm not quite sure what the sounds and so on will be. Let's see. Hopefully they're not too annoying. But yeah, let's freaking go. And let's see what is going to happen here. LRS moving forward. M1A1s rolling in onto the battlefield as well over here. Coming in together with the Chaprals. M35 supply. Moving up there quite far forward as well. With the repair cost change, repairing tanks and refueling tanks has become really expensive. So yeah, the M35, you need quite a lot of them now. Surprisingly, or not so much surprisingly, but yeah, neither of the side starting with a supply point. So they don't wanna go into a late game. They didn't invest into that late game scenario. So yeah, supply outside of that, especially for 79, not that plenty. So yes, you can bring out big rocket artillery. You have a TOS in your division, but next to repairing with the new repair cost, also refueling that TOS will be pretty tough without a field supply point. So I guess we won't see a TOS 2, or if so, it is supposed to be still a relatively quick push with it. Spetsnaz versus LRS here should be relatively equal. We're gonna see how that goes. This is Spetsnaz GRU nowadays having the Dragunov. And yeah, Chaprals coming up north. Really strong AA at the moment. Really good AA, actually. Moving up north together with an M1A1. Pretty cost efficient. Coop, really strong long range radar AA. And as the Raven currently is not in the deck, as there's currently no seaplane in 8th Infantry, can't really do too much against that either. Slight point advantage here for Sotek, 90 points on the scoreboard. But that shouldn't be super massive, as we have more Urals coming out. We have little Strelkies and Spetsnaz rolling onto the battlefield here in good number as well. As Fireteam 84 sits in the south, Fireteam 84 sits in the north. Another Engineer Flash will join them there, and we have a good fight here going on between infantry, but those do take a good while here. As we have T-62s trying to engage the MR-13, getting a good engine damage. BMP-2 trying to help out from the side here as well. Dealing with the LRS, dealing with other infantry, but the heavy formation of two M1A1s here still should in the end push DarkNeutron back here. DarkNeutron will have to disengage. Two T-80BVKs actually around for DarkNeutron already, but they are on the other side of the map. Another T-80BV coming in, and T-80BV versus M1A1 matchup is also not that great for the T-80BV as long as they are firing on gun range. If they can maybe get a Cobra also on the enemies, stress them out a bit, it changes a good bit, but as you can see, penetration-wise, the Abrams has the better penetration, and it also has the better accuracy by a good margin, so that really helps out in these fights. And yeah, DarkNeutron will have to be careful there. Once you bring in around T-80Us, that changes a hell of a lot, as they stat-wise outperform the M1A1 by a good margin. They catch up a lot in the accuracy. They have still the autoloader, so they have the rate of fire improvement. So it's not quite as big as it was on previous patches, because the bug where the stress modifier got applied twice has been removed. But yeah, T-62 here engaging against the LRS. That obviously doesn't really stand a chance against the M1A1 at all. If it can get the side shot, it still can be deadly, and if it gets really close, even frontally, it will do a decent amount of damage. But yeah, T-80BVs versus M1A1s here on the long range, quite interesting. M1A1 here actually getting stressed out quite heavily, as it was 1 versus 2 for quite a while. Allowing DarkNeutron here to maybe actually win these fights. Gets the kill here. T-62 actually getting the side shot in. One of the T-80BVKs though does fall in the meantime, and those are obviously more valuable than an M1A1. You don't want to lose the second one, that's for sure. Yep, as the TOW 2 gets involved as well, that one deals insane damage against anything on the other side, outside of the biggest of tanks. With its 25 penetration, it really is a fantastic weaponry. T-62M gets a good shot, but yeah, not close enough here to penetrate the M1A1 frontally and murder it, and it nearly gets murdered itself. Quite fortunate that it survived with 1 hit point there, as another T-80BV rolls in. T-80BV spam versus M1A1 spam on the other side, and Kanoniak Panzers. This is interesting. Kanoniak Panzer here rolling in good numbers for Sotek. These should be quite cute. You have to get side shots with them to deal damage against these tanks. Against the T-62, they can deal damage frontally as well, but it's not a massive amount. But they have pretty good stealth, and you can put them into nice flank positions, and they're also pretty decent for infantry support for being such a cheap unit, as they only cost 35 points, so they are cheaper than a good couple of infantry units out there, and obviously only cost you like nearly a tenth of what a M1A1 costs you there. You get quite a lot of those out onto the battlefield. As the TOW 2 here firing into T-80BVK. T-80BVK needs to smoke off. Good reaction there by DarkNeutron, not letting that one get hit. T-80BV up in the north is engaged against some infantry as well. T-62 did fall eventually, so DarkNeutron losing a couple more vehicles here than his opponent, and another T-62. Yeah, as we have the first really big boy coming out now though. First T-80UD coming out, and that changes the tank dynamic a hell of a lot. 20 penetration, 21 frontal armor, obviously outclasses the 1917 by a big margin. For frontal damage, for frontal armor is a massive gap, as the M1A1 can't touch the T-80UD on full range. Right? So T-80UD already starts to deal pretty decent damage even on max range. So the M1A1 needs to be really careful there. Bradley coming around. Well, it's M60s and M1A1s here coming around. Obviously, side shots still do fantastic damage. If you get close enough, you can still do it with 1 versus 2. And the T-80UD got cheaper a bit, but it's still not a cheap vehicle. As we have Bradleys and stuff rolling in the north. And Sotek here with the numerical advantage. But yeah, DarkNeutron will want to use this unit here now to the maximum. Have this as your spearhead, have the other tanks coming around with their firepower. Bit of OSA support coming in as well to maybe deal with the Cobra. KDBV taking out some light units. No infantry around here in any meaningful numbers for DarkNeutron. Could become an issue as we see another TADU rolling in. So yeah, full on tank meta here at the moment for DarkNeutron. His Kanonjagd Panzers roll forward. M1A1 rolls a bit up there as well. Also trying to get into position. But we have the TADUDs and the BMP2s sitting around over here, waiting for another target. Kanonjagd Panzer? Actually, did it just penetrate the TADUD? I believe it just side-shot the TADUD, dealing 3 damage. That is quite big. Yeah, Kanonjagd Panzer can be annoying. Gets spotted here now, but the BMP2 is on its own. M1A1 does a quick job of it. Does finish it off quite nicely. And Sotek here in a pretty good position, I would argue. Sotek really putting up the pressure nicely. As both players here heavily engaged still in the north. Kanonjagd Panzer keep on rolling forward, and if you don't have the recon to spot these guys, they can become really obnoxious. Coop goes down to one of those Kanonjagd Panzers as well. TDBV trying to roll up, trying to spot one of these, but it doesn't see them until they fired, and that's really the power of the Kanonjagd Panzer. And 3 Kanonjagd Panzer are still cheaper than a single TDBV, and they nearly win that duel. TDBV gets one killed, has to run immediately outside, and yeah, that's the power of the Kenjay PC. Kanonjagd Panzer, really outdated gun, really outdated design in general, but it is still a sneaky thing, and it still is a solid ambusher. As we have a Mi-8 MTA coming in now to try to spot them, but Chaparral, with its amazing anti-helicopter range, will try to zone these out. And you have to be really careful there with the Mi-8 MTA, as 2 Chaparrals on the hunt now. Ihawk coming on to the battlefield as well, so the north will be pretty tough to break here with any sort of air for DarkNeutron. As the Chaparral already got a good couple of shots out. Mi-8 MTA has to get the hell out of there, or the Chaparral can find another shot. It's trying to get away. Chaparral will get another shot potentially there though. Yeah, another missile is flying. Does miss. Fortunate there for DarkNeutron. Will keep the Mi-8 MTA alive, but will struggle to find a good connection. T8 ADU and UD coming around here. Finally more recon. These are absolutely necessary here right now. As we see the fire team 84 going down. And he had a good amount of tanks here, still nice. Getting some recon infantry, pretty important. Another TADU, another Mi-8 MTA, all coming onto the battlefield. We see a solid amount of Stingers here coming onto the battlefield as well. They will be pretty helpful in the north. As we see the Engineer Dragon killing an Osa. Big oof. Big oof. TADU here engaging Kanonjagd Panzer, gets another side shot. Really kind of MVP here at this stage. TADU under fire by the TOW 2 as well, and Sotek set up a really great killing field here against all these armored units. Maybe DarkNeutron should have tried to swing around here in the south, try to use the better flexibility of his heavy Soviet tanks for better pushes, but like Sotek was really prepared for him up here. Kanonjagd Panzer, TOW 2s and all of that stuff, really doing fantastic job. Bradley now coming around with the flank, and DarkNeutron is in a tough spot here now. Like, it's still a 50-50. So DarkNeutron still keeps the middle somewhat occupied. Middle has seen a couple of changes. You can't hide your CVs behind this edge anymore. They changed the outlier of these zones so that you can't hide them easily on the edge anymore. You have to get onto top of the plateau to put your CV in there. So pushing someone out is a bit easier than before. As we have a Mi-8 MTA being under fire in the north, getting killed off there. Sotek really keeping up the pressure. As we see a Mi-24V AA coming around as well. Good shots everywhere here. Mi-24V could be the next victim. And we see Humvees retreating in the south. And yeah, DarkNeutron will have to bring a really insane tank push to bring this once more around. TADUDs still here, but a lot of losses here. Good amount of AA killed as well. And yeah, good shots onto the engineers, onto the fire team. TADU and UD trying their best here now to eliminate some infantry, but they will have to kill off a lot of infantry to pay off here. and start to get the value back. TADBV with some ATGM shots. TOE2 and Bradley there still doing a fantastic job though. Double smoke being caught out by the TOE2. As DarkNeutron is desperately trying to hold the flank. Another Mi-8 MTA coming around, another TADBV coming around. Wild Weasel here actually coming in with the seed. Oh yeah, right, they got replaced with Wild Weasel. And at the meantime, Thunderbolt coming in quite harsh as well. TADUD, I believe, went down here now. Yeah, I believe that TADUD is burning in there. It is for sure down. More tanks going down here on the side. TADBV and TADU trying to hold against that, but the TOE2 missile is flying in here against the TADU. It has to smoke off again. Not having anything against this TOE2 missile. No artillery, no air, no massive tank push on top of it. It really is starting to become really, really painful for DarkNeutron here, and Sotek most likely will have him off this battlefield in a good couple of minutes if it continues to snowball as it does right now. Really strong air attack, killing off good AA, and DarkNeutron just a bit off balance here now. Like, there's just not the cohesion, the combined force, the good recon, the open area. Like, Sotek is starting to strangle him here bit by bit, getting more and more space. It's a slow push by Sotek. Sotek not overextending. Maybe a bit going a bit slow. Losing the Thunderbolt actually a bit painful there. I didn't quite realize that died on the way out. The OSA must have helped out there. More cubes coming in. Yeah, airplanes at the moment really vulnerable. And really going down like flies. As the TADU here engages the scouts. Tries its best, but even here, the Bradley is preying on DarkNeutron's tanks already, and repairing these is actually pretty expensive nowadays. And eating 2 TOE2 missiles, not a small thing at all. So, yeah, the TDU here will need a lot of supplies to get that repaired. Does smoke off, but I don't believe the Ural even will be enough here with its less than 200 supply remaining to get that fixed. As yeah, repairing and refueling at the moment is really, really expensive. And Sotek keeps up the pressure. No artillery around. A10 for the south. There's a good amount of AA here, but there's a big, big infantry push here now from Sotek as well. He knows that DarkNeutron invested so much into those heavy tanks. DarkNeutron not really able to use them. And Sotek is just like, okay, if you invested into all of these tanks, you must be weak somewhere. And is pushing in here with a really weird combined arms, a couple of Kanoniak Panzers, a couple of Fireteam 84s. Like, all of this combined works pretty well together, and it's a pretty cheap combo. None of these units are particularly expensive. So this is a really, really cheap push, and it is doing a lot of work. Should allow Sotek to capture the southern zone, and will put up another big problem for DarkNeutron, that he doesn't have the resources to check for. BMP2s here trying to come in with Motostrelki, but that most likely won't be enough. TADBV trying to help out. It could do a lot of work, but it needs recon for it, and that recon is really rather limited. Mi-24V rocket going down here as well. TADU trying to engage the fire team. TOE2 coming around in the north, +4 for Sotek, taking none. And that is going to be a massive, massive problem down the line for DarkNeutron. But yeah, comes in with another TADBVK. TADBV actually already under fire here now. TDU trying to hold the side as Kanoniak Panzers continue moving around. TADBV has to smoke off, has to get repaired. As we see a Mi-8 MTA coming around. TADU getting a kill onto some fire team 84. M1A1 coming around on its own, not good enough, but it can be really helpful as a support. And helpful and trying to keep the enemy off here. And as DarkNeutron now has to invest down here, we could see the Sotek swinging into the north again. Has a TOE2 missile coming in here. Oof, that one was lucky. ATGM flew by its jeep. As the TOE2 now has entered the building. Is still a bit under fire, it seems. Oh no, that ATGM is flying elsewhere. As the TOE2 now tries to fire back, heavily stressed out. So its aim is rather low. Yeah, misses a shot here. As As we also see some fights up further north, TDBV trying to fight free the forest, but it's not gonna be easy either. Bradley going down actually to the ATGM. Stinger's going down as well. Fireteam 84 going down here too. So a good amount of kills here for Sotek, for DarkNeutron on Sotek's units lately, but Sotek still with the absolutely phenomenal positioning. M1A1 shooting around here as well. MTLB supply actually, yeah, will go down. So these guys a bit stranded here. And losing any supply vehicle as 79th, as I explained earlier, really tough. You don't have that many supply cards, so losing any is a big oof, as you can't really replace them. TADBVK trying to come around. TADU moving up here a bit as well. +4 for Sotek. Still pretty strong, and if you can kill off these units over here, that would be massive. M1 Abrams going down, but the TADU bit the dust as well. So it's only TADBVs here right now. The TOW2 will do massive damage against those, as we don't have any TADUs coming around from the rear either. The TADU in the south, super low, will have to run for its life, otherwise the M1A1 will finish it off. It's trying to disengage, but has to be really careful. Once we have more and more tanks coming in for the south, M1A1 joining in here as well now. And Sotek with a really strong presence down here. That was a masterful push and a really good show why 8th Infantry is so scary, because they have that cost efficiency for combined arms push that involved CQC infantry, that involved armor, that involved infantry with good AT, and some heavy MGs, like, and all of that for the price that was lower than a single TADU, maybe even, or at least around that. So a really strong combined arms push. TADU here still trying to run. BMP2 getting picked off by the M1A1, as we see the TADU still trying to disengage here. Cobra under fire in the north. Can the OSA connect? Also a bit unfortunate there. So the Cobra still keeps staying around. And yeah, even though the KD lately not super terrible for DarkNeutron, the positioning is still not a great one. At least kills the cluster bomb before losing the TADBVK. Coops there doing a good job, but yeah, loses another BMP2. Kanoniak Panzer's in a phenomenal spot up here. Quite scary. On the flank, TADU has to smoke off, has to get the hell out of there. As we see in the north, TADBV, Saperi engaging in the meantime. Fireteam 84 being pushed back. Chaparral has to roll out of there as well. LRS and military police trying their best as well. Saperi engaging the Fireteam 84. Well, that's over here. Spetsnaz, Motostrelki, all doing their best to hold the line. TOW2 coming in here against the TADBVK, gets the kill. Ooh, that is a massive one, as that is the CV for the middle. This is a +7, and I fear DarkNeutron is done for here, as the TADBVK tries to hit the Kanoniak Panzers. But yeah, DarkNeutron agrees. Sotek with a really strong start here, and kept it going from there, really showing why 8th is so scary. Always being able to open up another problem for your opponent, whilst having a cohesive, strong force balanced, based around some really strong ATGMs, some really strong main battle tanks, and some solid infantry all around. And yep, well played by Sotek. DarkNeutron will have to catch it up next time, as if it will be a draw, both sides still will have a chance to win here. But if Sotek wins, DarkNeutron won't have a chance of winning the match. So let's see what it will be.